Hey guys, BTR Plumbing here, and today I am here with my 2016 Kohler Highline Class 5 toilet. So I recently had gotten this toilet for free. I've always kind of liked the design and the flush of these toilets. I know they kind of have a plain, simple flush. I know a majority of people who have seen these or tested these do not like them. However, I've always just kind of liked the way these Kohlers looked, these Class 5s. I also really like the powerful, strong siphons. One thing I will admit, these usually don't really have that great of bowl rinse, and that can be an issue. I do have the tank lid for it. Obviously, this is not the original handle. Something must have happened to it and was replaced. I will not keep this toilet, as it is going to be installed somewhere in this mini house that is being built. So I'll be putting this in for somebody, and I'll actually film it after I install it too, so y'all can see that. But these definitely have really good performance, except for the bowl rinse. That's definitely not its greatest quality, but flushing power is pretty good. Hopefully y'all can see the date underneath the bowl right there. And then there's no date on the tank lid, but there's also a date stamped here on this barcode on the back of the tank. Everything you see in here is what it came with. Obviously, this is not the original handle again, but this thing has kind of a quick flush. I feel like the flush tower closes a little too quick, or I guess Kohler would call it the aqua piston. But other than that, this toilet honestly isn't that bad, and I'll flush a rag down it here as well. You can see, obviously it's not completely full to the water line. Let me go ahead and fill it up. The water line isn't perfectly even in the bowl, and I thought maybe it was my stand, but also if you look in the bowl, you can see the water ring, and it's also kind of lopsided. So I don't know if that's just due to the fact that there's a siphon jet channel on this side and not this side, but I've seen several toilets that were just like this where the water level wasn't perfectly level in the bowl. But it also has a Kohler slow close seat on it, which you could barely even see the logo on there. But yeah, here is a flush. So that was a push and release flush, and I'm sure y'all could tell just by that the flush is very short and it barely uses any of the water in the tank. I'm assuming this is a 1.28. I don't know if it says on the aqua piston somewhere. I'm sure it does. And this is not one of those that have the tank bolts that go underneath on a tank bracket. There is bolts that go through the tank, which I honestly prefer over the tank bracket. And I don't know what's going on here, but for some reason, this fill valve, even though it came with it, does not like to refill the bowl all the way, which isn't really a huge issue. So I might replace it with something that has a little more water flow coming out of this refill tube here. But here is another flush. I'm gonna hold down the handle a little bit longer to how I think it should flush. That's personally how I think they should flush. That used half the water in the tank, because normally a flush would use just to about down there. So it closes just, in my opinion, way too early. But again, another thing I've really liked about these is the strong siphon power. So now, just for fun, I'm gonna go ahead and flush down this rag. And these are the 3 Dexters, and then there's also this Kohler High Cliff here that I had saved from part of my school that was being demolished, my old high school. Once they demolished the rest of the school, after the new one is finished being built, they said I could go back and grab whatever other fixtures I wanted, but the tank is just about full. So let me give y'all a flush now. Tank is completely filled. As y'all can see, it had absolutely no issues taking that down whatsoever. And y'all can see the rag came out there. What's interesting is because the pipe is kind of long, without that little vent pipe sticking up there for air to go through, the siphon would just kind of continue for a little bit longer than that. And sometimes it makes the toilet flush a little bit differently in a cool way. Maybe I'll close off that vent tube and then do some flushes just to show y'all how it acts. But me personally, I think it's kind of cool. It still kind of has a long flush, but now that it has that vent stack right there, it allows water to breathe. And just looking at it, I realized I had put that T on backwards, because that part where it's sloped going up should be facing the other direction. But here is another flush. And I am getting a call, so I will be right back. Okay, y'all, I am back. And in case y'all haven't noticed, it is now nighttime. had gotten distracted and then had to take care of a few things. But now I'm gonna go ahead and do a close-up flush. Let's go ahead and lock the focus here. Again, I don't know exactly. It shouldn't be the long pipe that's causing that extra little gurgle. I think it's just because this is a Highline and the trapway is slightly taller. It creates a more powerful siphon suction. And again, I do have that vent pipe there. Maybe it's because that piece, the T, is backwards. And I'll show y'all what I mean by that. Because if you look here, you see how it's pointed that way, it's angled that way. Should be the other way around, because now water's gonna kind of, I guess it doesn't really matter. I mean, looking in there, you can see it goes straight through either way, but it's supposed to be the other way around. Like, that would fail plumbing and a plumbing inspection. But now I'm gonna do another flush from this angle. If I can get the camera to focus the way I want it to. Come on. Okay, here we go. So yeah, I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, leave y'all's comments down below. And as always, I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.